Now, the aforementioned country, the wealthy land, for whom the money was the main object, as mentioned, continued to occupy themselves with their devotions. They kept doing wild things and offering sacrifices to their gods, to those who had a lot of money, as mentioned. And the additional time that the warrior had given them was already shortly transpiring. They were very frightened, and they did their devotions and offered sacrifices and incense and engaged in their prayers, which they prayed to their gods. They caught a little critter, that is, such a person who has a little money, and offered him as a sacrifice to their gods. And they were convinced that they must act upon their first plan, which they had been given, that they should send to the country where they are all gods there, because they have very extraordinary wealth there, which according to their opinion makes them all gods. And that country would certainly save them, since they are all gods. As mentioned, they did so, and they sent emissaries there to that country. Meanwhile, on the way, as the emissaries were going, they got lost, and they discerned a man walking there. A man walking with a cane. His cane was worth more than all the gods. That is, his cane was set with very expensive diamonds, so that the cane was worth more than the riches of their gods. Should one put together all the riches of their gods, and even of the gods of that country they're going to, the cane would be worth more than all their riches. Furthermore, the man was walking with a hat in which there were diamonds, so that the hat was also worth a fortune. As soon as the emissaries noticed this man, they immediately fell down before him, bowing and prostrating. They bowed profusely before him, because, according to their foolish opinion, this man is a god over all gods, for he has such extraordinary great wealth. And this man, whom they encountered, was the king's treasurer mentioned above. The man said to him, "This here is a novelty to you. Come with me, I will show you wealth." He led them atop a mountain where the king's treasury was arranged, and he showed them the treasury. As soon as they saw the treasury, they immediately fell down, bowing and prostrating, because he is the God over all gods, according to their foolish and deluded opinion, because by them the essential faith was money as mentioned, albeit they brought no sacrifices, for in accordance with their belief that he is such a God, etc., they certainly would have offered themselves to him. However, when the emissaries departed, the emissaries were warned not to offer any sacrifices on the way, for they were afraid that should they want to offer sacrifices along the way, none of them would remain. For maybe one of them will find a treasure on the road, maybe one of them will enter there, which would be a god for him. Maybe one of them would enter there, he will want to sacrifice himself to it, and none of them would be left. Therefore, the country warned the emissaries that they should not offer any sacrifices on the way whatsoever. Therefore, these emissaries did not offer sacrifices to this aforementioned warden, but this was clear to them, that he was a god over all gods, since he possessed such astounding and vast wealth. The emissaries came to the decision, what reason remained for them to go to those other gods, that is, to the country they were sent to, where they all were extremely rich people, whom they considered to be gods, much better than this man. He can help them better, because he is a god over all of them. according to their crazed notion. Since he has such extraordinary great wealth, more than anyone many times over, therefore they beseech this man that he should go with them into their country. He was content to oblige them, and went with them, and entered their country. There was a great celebration in that country, and they had acquired such a god, that they had acquired such a god, for they were already sure now that through him they would have a deliverance, for he is such a god, since he has such a great fortune. The man who was the king's treasurer, as mentioned, who was accepted by the countrymen as god, ordered that until there would be a proper order in the country, no one in the meantime should offer any sacrifices. For this treasurer was in fact the great tzaddik, for he was of the king's people, who were all very great tzaddikim. The treasurer certainly loathed the foolish practices of the country, but he was incapable of leading them out of their evil way. However, for the time being, he ordered them that in any case no sacrifices should be brought. The countrymen started to beseech him regarding the aforementioned warrior, of whom they were very terrified, and the warden also replied to them, "Could this be the warrior who he knows?" The treasurer got up and went out to the warrior and asked the warrior's people if it were possible to be granted an audience with him, and they said that they would announce it. They announced it. He ordered for him to be let in, and the treasurer entered before the warrior. They recognized each other, and there was a celebration and crying between them as above. They were very happy that they were privileged to find each other, but still wept very much. How can the rest of the aforementioned people be brought as well? The warrior spoke up to the treasurer, "Our kosher prayer leader is also here, and I have already seen him, and he has already become a king." The treasurer told the warrior that he had passed by everyone, that is, by the place of the king, with all the people, as mentioned above. Only by the two of them he did not pass, that is, by the place of the prayer leader and the warrior he did not pass. The treasurer talked with the warrior about the country that had become so errant and so diluted in money that they had fallen into such nonsense. The warrior answered the treasurer that which he told the prayer leader, that he heard from the king, that whoever has fallen into the lust of money cannot be taken out of it by any means, except by that way of the sword, from where the warrior receives his power and might, as mentioned. Again, they extended the time, that is, the treasurer convinced the warrior that he should give the country yet another date. The warrior gave them another date.